He agreed, but only after the wedding. My heart was overflowing with happiness. I thought it proved how much he loved me. What I never expected was that on our wedding night, he would shove me against the floor-to-ceiling window in front of everyone. He lifted my white check wedding dress to my waist, forcing me onto my tiptoes as I struggled to keep up with him. The moment it was over, he pulled off the condom and revealed the truth behind the cruel game.
Before the wedding, when you suddenly demanded 500 grand, I told you Voss Group's cash flow had collapsed and that I was broke. That was a lie. She attended one dinner with me, and I bought her that necklace. $5 million.
I propped myself up on trickling arms and stared at him. My throat tightened. Not a single word could come out. A violent cramp twisted through my lower abdomen, but the cruel smile on Ethan's face only grew wider.
Who told you to be such a damn gold digger? Every extra penny I spend on you makes me sick.
He left. I looked down at the notification on my phone. The hospital had sent a death notice. My mother was gone. Didn't know was that the $500,000 had never been for me. It was my mother's cancer treatment fund. And because I didn't want him worrying about me, I had never told him she was sick. On my wedding night, I lost the four most important people in my life. My mother, my newly made husband, my best friend of more than 10 years, and the baby growing inside me. By the time I rushed to the hospital, my mother's body had already been covered with a white sheet and wheeled out of the emergency room. Tears dripped endlessly from my eyes. I was still wearing my wedding dress, the same dress my mother had helped me choose just 2 days earlier. Her greatest wish had been to see me get married before she died.
But honestly, that's all you're worth.
I closed my eyes in despair. A tear slid down my cheek, and my mind drifted back to 1 month earlier. My mother had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. I sold my mortgaged apartment. I worked 3 jobs at once, 1 at a law firm and 2 at restaurants. I scraped together every dollar I possibly could, but I was still $500,000 short. With no other options left, I asked Ethan for help. I didn't tell him how critical my mother's condition was because I didn't want to burden him. Even now, I can still remember how quickly his face turned cold.
The company is in trouble. We don't have money right now. Sienna, if you're only with me for my money, then get the hell out.
Humiliation burned inside me, but I swallowed my pride and begged him for the money. Only then did he agree to give it to me on our wedding day. Until tonight. Tonight, he finally admitted it had all been a lie. Voss Group wasn't bankrupt. It wasn't drowning in debt. The only thing waiting for him tonight was our wedding bed. And then he told me something even worse. Now my mother was dead, and I no longer wanted his money. You can keep it. I'll send it back. The moment I transferred the money back to him, I heard Jade's laughter through the phone.
I won. I knew she'd pull the noble act and refuse it.
Then Jade guggled again.
Forget about her, Ethan. As a thank you for buying me that private yacht, I've prepared something fun for tonight.
The sound of kissing quickly filled the line. My hand shook so hard, I could barely hold the phone. Then the call disconnected. A sharp pain tore through my lower abdomen again. Cold sweat instantly soaked my clothes. My legs gave out beneath me. I collapsed onto the floor. That night, I had planned to tell Ethan some good news. I was pregnant. But before I could say a word, he had already lost himself in his own desires. Without hesitation, without care, he chose the cruelest possible way to announce his betrayal. At first, I thought he was simply overwhelmed by financial pressure. I never imagined he was humiliating me on purpose. My vision slowly blurred. Blood spread across my white wedding dress, turning it crimson. I reached toward the direction where my mother lay, but before I could touch her hand one last time, everything went dark. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on a cold operating table. The doctor frowned as he looked at me.
You were clearly showing signs of a threatened miscarriage. Why didn't you come to the hospital sooner? Do you have any idea how dangerous that is?
Just like my marriage to Ethan, his cold, disgusted expression from that night refused to leave my mind.
Whore.
One simple word. That was all it took to destroy 3 years of love. After the procedure, a nurse helped me to an observation room. I stared blindly out the window of Manhattan General Hospital. For a moment, I thought that if I jumped right then and there, everything would finally be over. Then I overheard two young nurses chatting nearby.
Have you seen the news? The CEO of Voss Group spent a fortune on a luxury yacht. That's not his wife, just to make his wife happy.
I heard his actual wife is some manipulative gold digger.
Mr. Voss can't stand her. He didn't even spend his wedding night with her. The woman on that yacht is his true love.
I sat alone in the hospital hallway after hearing those words until sunrise. The next day, I handled my mother's death certificate and cremation paperwork by myself, like a walking corpse. When I finally held her urn in my arms, I called a car to take us home, or at least to what was supposed to be home. Pathetically, the penthouse I shared with Ethan was the only place I had left. I had nowhere else to go. The money in my pocket wasn't even enough for the cheapest motel on the East Coast. The driver glanced at me through the rear-view mirror. Maybe he noticed how exhausted I looked. Trying to lighten the mood, he started a conversation.
Rough breakup, sweetheart? If you ask me, a woman should find a man who truly loves her. Even I'm jealous, and I'm a grown man.
I bit my lip and forced a bitter smile. He had no idea. The man he was praising was the husband who abandoned me on our wedding night, and the woman he envied was my former best friend. Jade had told me more than once how jealous she was of my luck. A girl from nothing, somehow ending up with Ethan Voss. Every time she said it, I laughed it off. I always told her the same thing. I love Ethan, not Voss Group. Back then, I never noticed the jealousy hiding in her eyes. I thought she was genuinely happy for me. When she lost her job, I even convinced Ethan to hire her at Voss Group. He made her his executive assistant. The irony was almost laughable. I still remembered what she said afterward.
Don't worry. I'll keep an eye on Ethan for you. If he ever hurts you, I'll make him pay.
Who would have guessed she'd end up in his bed instead? Ethan used to tell me he didn't like Jade. He thought she was calculating, artificial. A woman who relied on plastic surgery and social climbing to get ahead. He said she was nothing like me. I was simple, pure. At least that's what he claimed. Then I asked him for money. And everything changed. At the time, I couldn't understand it. How could someone's feelings change overnight? Now I finally understood. They hadn't. His betrayal had begun long before that. I took a deep breath. There was no point dwelling on it anymore. The husband who once swore he loved me, best friend who betrayed me. I wanted neither of them. By the time I arrived at the penthouse carrying my mother's ashes, exhaustion had consumed every part of me. I pressed my fingerprint against the screener and stepped inside. The first thing I saw was Jade. She was standing in the middle of the living room with a victorious smile plastered across her face, barefoot, standing directly on top of the framed engagement picture of Ethan and me. The moment she saw me enter, she deliberately ground her heel over my face in the picture.
Sienna, you're finally back.